Are you an introvert? Do you see it as an asset or liability? Did you know that up to 50% of the world population is considered being introverted? That's a large number to me. Well, I am an introvert, and I want to talk to you today about why being an introvert can be an asset as you relocate and retire abroad. And it could even be a tool to help you thrive in your new environment. I think it's a wonderful topic to talk about because sometimes we are not aware of our own inner energy and feeling as we transition and we're trying to make it into a new environment. All right. If you are new to this channel, my name is Maggie Lazar. I am a retired nurse practitioner, and I have been happily retired here in Panama for 3 years now. I am also the creator of SWRA, Single Women Retiring Abroad, a group of sassy older ladies who have made a conscious decision to retire abroad, create community, build sisterhood while we reinvent ourselves. But the ultimate goal of SWRA, Single Women Retiring Abroad, is to create a new model of aging abroad that is sustainable and affordable. If any of this sounds of interest to you and you would like to hear more and see more about my content, I invite you to like the video, share it with as many friends and family as you can, and subscribe to the channel. Also, click that little bell so that you are notified when I post a new video or whenever I go live, which is quite often, especially on Sunday morning and Saturday afternoon. All right. As I started to look into this topic, I talk a lot about how to move abroad. I do a few consultation calls. People want to know how to do it, but there are so many of us giving the same information. I'm kind of moving a little bit into not different, but just getting you to think more deeply about what it is to live abroad as a single older woman. I also started a new podcast where we intersect aging, wellness, and wisdom. We talk about that every single day about 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. If you click, you come here on the channel and you click on podcast, you're going to see the playlist. Okay? All right. So, who is an introvert and why am I talking about it? I think as you get older, I have become more introspective, looking at myself. I've always been aware of who I am, but as you get older, there is a sense that you kind of owning who you are and you no longer worried about whether somebody is going to accept you or not. And then it's not to be arrogant to say, this is it, this is me. There is always room for improvement as you interact with other people, right? But knowing yourself is such an asset to say, well, knowing me, this is how I process information. This is how I make decisions. So an introvert, I always have my notes. An introvert is somebody who likes their own company. They really spend a lot of time processing information and going inward. All right. So the term introvert and extrovert was coined by a Swiss psychologist called Carl Jung, Jung. And he wanted the world to know the difference between these two personality types. Now, you know an introvert, you know how they are, how they act, how they relate to the world. And you also know some extroverts. And introverts like me are like, whoo, because they're just so energetic. And you're like, just watching her is exhausting. It's not a negative. It's not a negative. It's like your kids. They're all different, but you love them. So we're not making any judgment as to whether it's better to be an introvert or extrovert. No. But a definition of an introvert, because we're going to talk about that, and we're going to show you some characteristics, and you're going to say, oh, yeah, I think so. It's a person who predominantly focuses on internal thoughts. We like to think about things a little bit deeper. We're not very superficial in our thinking, thoughts and feeling rather than on external things or social interactions. So we don't blame the circumstances for how we're feeling. We don't wait on the world to make us feel good. We go deep and we find the strength to keep on living, right? That's an introvert. We don't make excuses. We don't blame the environment or the situation, all right? Another characteristic of an introvert, they are often seen as quiet, yes, withdrawn, they get labeled that, even though when they withdraw, it's because they're trying to rebuild their energy tank, right? Sometimes we may be perceived as being unfriendly or aloof or withdrawn, okay? Unfortunately, somebody is going to have something to say about you, and you're just going to have to learn to say, oh, well, that's what I say. Another thing is introverts seek out and enjoy opportunities for reflection and solitude. Oh, yes, yes, yes. We love solitude. We love to go take a walk in the woods if we can, just thinking about things, just enjoying ourselves in the environment, right? I talked the other day about why I love to solo travel. People would say, oh, it's much better to travel with someone because you can you can share. I don't know. If you're an introvert and you have traveled with someone, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you might say, oh, because as I said, if something goes south, then not only are you trying to come to a conclusion of how you're going to handle the situation, but then now you have to worry about the next person. And to us, it's like energy expenditure. Don't judge, don't judge. Another characteristic is introverts feel drained after social interaction, and they can't wait to go into solitude so they can rebuild. Can you relate to that? I certainly can. I'm like, check, check, check. All right. Are you enjoying this conversation so far? Because if you are, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell. All right. The next one is introverts are kind of measured. They think before they speak. They're not very impulsive in thoughts or decision making. They'll do the work, they'll get the data, but they don't often get caught in analysis paralysis. That would be something about me. I'm careful, but once I get my information, I'm ready to go. All right? The next thing, they keep their circle of friends close and small. They don't need to have 50 friends. In fact, that could be what's the word I'm looking for? That could be unsettling to have to worry about that many folks around you, to have 50 friends, but you can have 5, you can have 10, because you're so deep in thoughts, your relationships, you want them to be deeper. So you spend time and energy developing those, and you're only one person. So you cannot expand yourself to 50, 60. That's way too much. Introverts are internally focused and get absorbed in their own thoughts and activities. Oh, yeah. I can relate to that a lot. Because sometimes time goes by and you're like, oh my God, I've been doing this and that. You get caught in your own self, your own activities, your own thinking, your own decision making, your own research. And that's why you end up spending so much time alone. with yourself in your own environment. But having said, I'm sure there are more other characteristics we can talk about. But having said that, there is also neuroscience that shows that the frontal cortex, which is the front part of the brain where the executive decision making is made, they have found that the gray matter in the brain is richer and it's thicker. That means we're spending a lot of time doing executive thinking. And it's so true. But to have that be shown, pretty much, I'm thinking on an autopsy or an MRI or imaging to show that the brain of an introvert is more developed in the frontal cortex. Who knew? I mean, I thought that it was fascinating. I never thought of that. All right. And they also thought that, there is more blood flow and just showing like signs of an active region of your brain. I'll take that. I'll take it. Common misconceptions, as we said before, they might see you as aloof. They might see you as being unfriendly. They might see you as being, some people may think haughty, right? I have been told in the past that I kind of come across as being kind of, I don't smile or I make people feel scared or so I have learned to kind of watch my facial expression so I don't give out that aura. Okay? We are seen as being quiet, shy, and sometimes even antisocial. We're not antisocial. And I'm going to show you in a little bit that we can socialize, but just not all the time. We are seen as quiet. Sometimes we are seen as maybe we're not good speakers because we're quiet. That I can't relate to because I can speak and I don't have the stage anxiety that I'm sure I did. I remember when I was a child, I used to sing in church and I used to go get on the podium and my voice would be projecting, but I would be having tears. I'd be just, so the introvert, I was trying to make up for it, right? Anyway. So they also can see us as being no fun, you're kind of boring, you like to be by yourself. But as we're going to see, if you're on a continuum and you're not an extreme introvert or an extreme extrovert, I think you're going to be okay. Being in the middle of the spectrum, you're not like overly this, overly that, or, highest superlatives. No, no. All right. Now, some psychologists, other psychologists besides the Swiss one, they develop a model called the STAR model for introverts because they realized that there were different kinds of introverts. Not all introverts are created the same. Isn't that a new concept, right? So they developed what they call the STAR model, STAR. S stands for social introvert, a social introvert. You're going to say it's an oxymoron. No, it's not. You can be an introvert and still be sociable. The second is the T, a thinking introvert. I can relate to that. We think through things deeply. The anxious introvert, now you're on the extreme, right? That you get anxiety about certain things. And then the restrained introvert. Yeah, you be measured in your thoughts and decision making, but you don't get caught again in analysis paralysis. Okay, so now that we've given you a view of what an introvert might be, what the world might think about an introvert, how does that translate into being an asset for an expat, an immigrant, as we move through the transition? And how do we thrive in our new environment, right? People could thrive, an extrovert might thrive because, everything is new. It could be a liability. It's not always an asset. Think about that, okay? So let's talk about how Being an introvert who's measured. Well, let's talk about the four types quickly. The social introvert means that I can be an introvert, I can enjoy my own company, but I do acknowledge the need to be sociable. I like my own company, but I know I need to socialize. And being a member of SWRA, I know we have to have community. We have to have social events so that we can get to know each other. I have no problem with that. So they are not mutually exclusive. You can be an introvert and still be sociable. Not all the time, not every day, and not in crowds. The thinking introvert is somebody who takes time to think about life, the world. They're kind of philosophical and they're trying to find answers to life's dramas and things that we don't understand. And I always say, I asked God, why do we have to grow old? And he said, nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm moving on. I'm not gonna get hung up on this thing that I can't figure out. Now, there is a danger for an introvert to spend an extraordinary amount of time thinking about things that they cannot understand. And you kind of remove yourself from reality and you in that realm floating around. No bueno. No bueno. So that's the thinking introvert. I am a thinking introvert, but I know where my limit is. I know I can only do so much. All right. The anxious introvert, now I know an anxious introvert. This person is so into himself that those are the people we call socially awkward. They have social anxiety. If they get into a crowd of people, a room, I'm not like that. I don't think I've ever been like that. But that person start having sweaty palm, the heart might start racing, social anxiety, because they're like, what am I doing here? I could be home in my little hole, just enjoying my own company. No bueno. But there are people like that. So the deal is for them to realize that maybe slowly make themselves get into the social setting to try to overcome the anxiety because nobody's an island. You need to be around people even though you cherish your time alone, right? And then the restraint um, introvert think. It's almost like the thinking, just because the thinking introvert is more spatial, it's like things, of the world they're trying to think. The restrained introvert is the person who doesn't make decisions abruptly, who can think through things, and it's not, oh, what is the word? They're not flaky in terms of thought and making decisions. So they can take the time they need. They're not impulsive. That's the word I was looking for. You're not impulsive in thoughts and in decision. Just like I say, if I meet someone, my first aura and instinct is like, watch out, is that woman nurse thing? But I'm always talking to myself saying, well, maybe sis, maybe not, maybe not. Let's explore some more, a little bit more, longer. But most of the time I'll go back and like, that first impulse, that first feeling was right on the money, right? But you want to train yourself not to be impulsive and be judgmental of people when you first meet them. That is wisdom, right? Okay. So the restrained introvert is going to take time to get the facts, get the data, and doesn't jump and then think later. No bueno. Don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe. I'm enjoying this. Are you? Yes. Okay. How do we thrive? Let's think about if you are someone who is contemplating moving abroad. Now, we're talking about us, sisters, senior sisters. If you are an introvert, you might say, oh my God, this is so overwhelming, depending the kind of introvert you are. Oh, I think I'm going to need 3 years to research all this and come up with all the answers. Sis, that's analysis paralysis. You don't need that long. All right. So if you know you are the type of introvert that gets caught up in the detail and it's difficult for you to make a decision, you want to put people around you to help you counteract that. You watch videos. You don't try to find everything out by yourself. That's exhausting. The information is out there. We have done the work for you. So you need to do your part to get the information. You might want to get organized either on your phone or a notebook or iPad or whatever. Get the information and organize yourself. All right. So an introvert doesn't have to be paralyzed by and feeling overwhelmed with the decision and then the steps. Because what you need to say, look at Maggie, she did it. Look at this girl, she did it. Look at that guy, they did it. So if they did it, you can too. I said that when I had my first baby. I was so scared to death. I was like, oh my God. I remember there was, I'm gonna make you laugh. There was they had a prayer meeting at my house, and I'm like, please pray for Sister Maggie. I'm so scared. And this lady said, honey, we've all been there. You'll be fine. And when I was in labor, I was like, she said, you didn't in labor yet. And she was right. But anyway, if you are an introvert, know yourself, hire people to give you information, do the consultation call with me or somebody else, watch the videos, ask someone for assistance. And if you need to hire maybe a virtual assistant to help get you organized, do it, sis. If it's not going to break the bank, surround yourself with services to help you on your journey. All right? So know and accept yourself. That's the first thing as an introvert. Know, accept, and seek help as needed. The other one is like, you need to understand that your decision-making process is going to be framed by the way your mind works. That executive function that kind of keeps you paralyzed. You have to say, no, 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 I need to do this, I need to do that. Now, on the other hand, if you're an extrovert, you may not spend the time to do the work, and that could be dangerous, okay? So there is something to be said to be an introvert. All right. Careful decision making, right? Which country? Did you do the work? Did you do the form that I showed you to say, well, at country A, B, C, and you have your parameters. And then once you tabulate the numbers, go with the data. Don't get caught up in, oh yeah, but I know Panama looks good, but I like Belize. Well, is Belize gonna work for you? Oh, Panama is nice, but I really like Thailand. Decide, get the data, follow the data. Don't get caught up in the emotions, sis. No bueno. All right? Location, like if you come here, you're gonna look for your apartment. Same process. I gave you a sheet, an assessment for when you're looking for your apartment. Don't overlook things. Don't go, oh God, everything looks so pretty. Oh, look at the water. And then you're forgetting that the AC is old. You're not paying attention to the lease. Don't do that, sis. Be systematic in your decision making. As an introvert, you're careful in thought. So apply that. Don't forget yourself when you get to make those big decisions. I've been here almost 3 years and it's been fine. A lot of people do not take the time to do the work before they sign that lease. And then within 6 months, they're moving again. That's money down the drain because you either lose your deposit or you're going to have to come up with another deposit. Be an introvert. Be careful. All right. Social integration may be a challenge for an introvert, yes, but it could be an asset. As I said, we like to keep our circles small. That's less energy that you're going to expand trying to figure 50 people out. The challenge is if you don't make yourself go out there to meet people. I have to work on that sometime because people would say, well, Maggie, I think one sister said, you don't like parties, do you? And I don't. But if somebody's having a birthday and you invite me, I'll show up. I don't care for places where there is, smoking and drinking and loud music. That gets me frazzled. So if you don't see me, that's why. No judgment. Okay, you know I am social. I'm great at one-on-one, and I am great with small group. That's why I like my little SWRA group because we go to lunch. It's like 15, 5, 20. I can handle that. But put me in a room with 200 people. I'm not socially awkward. I will go around and say hello to people, but then at the end, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. That's how introverts feel. When we go out there, you drain us, you drain our energy. I hope that makes you understand and help you give us a little bit of grace, right? Because we're not trying to be haughty or unfriendly. We just get exhausted by being in the presence of so many people. So make yourself understand that building community, you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone to meet people, to be kind. Invite somebody to coffee. You can do the one-on-one, but don't just put yourself in your little apartment and saying, "Oh, I love my place." You need to get out. You need to get out. You know, I'm in the streets every day. All right. Friendships, community development may take time. Understand that because you as an introvert value deeper friendships, you're going to have to work harder at cultivating friendships because you know they say friendships are like plants. You got to pay attention. You got to water it. You got to fertilize it, right? So understand that. Introverts value time spent with friends and they tend to reciprocate, right? So that's why I always have events here. People invite me, I'll go if I can because my schedule gets a little tight. But I don't want to feel pressured to go to an event just because I'm worried of what somebody is going to think. So please don't get your feelings hurt if you invite me and I can't make it. All right? Maybe I'm tired, maybe I have something to do. I do understand the value of socializing, but I have to balance it. I don't need to be out there every day doing something. I get exhausted. And doing nothing, going to the mall, having a latte by myself is so rewarding. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't feel sorry for me. I love it. Love it. All right. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. Quick to adapt and making new decisions. We make measured decisions, but we also understand the value of adapting to a new environment because we don't get frazzled. We embrace the change. That's an asset. That is an asset. We don't sweat the small stuff. If somebody shows that they don't like us or they don't appreciate us or they're ready to judge the fact that we like to be by ourselves, we're like, oh, well, we don't sweat the small stuff. So don't get yourself open out of shape thinking that your attitude is doing something to us. It's not. It's not. Okay, so spare yourself. All right? They value true friendships and let go of what does not serve them. Oh my goodness. Yes, I am really good at that. Okay. So I nurture friendships. I go out of myself to be kind to people. I am an encourager. This is a spiritual gift that I have. But you know, if I reach out once or twice and I get this, girl, I'm moving on. I'm moving on because there are plenty of fish in the sea. All right. So I tell people also, if I ever do something to you that offends you or hurts you, please let me know because you know we're so deep into ourselves, we may not be aware. It's not that we are uncaring, we may not be aware that we've done something to offend you. And I tell the sisters the same thing. It's better for you to spend the time to nurture the relationship. And if you say, Maggie, I didn't appreciate that, I'm going to say, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. I apologize. I am very quick to apologize. But some people like to act like little prima donnas, and I really have no patience with that. So introverts do not have time to waste on people who just are too full of themselves, right? So let's just not do that. So let's try to understand how being an introvert can be an asset. We just embrace what we need to embrace. We work on what we need to work out and we let the rest go. And it could be things, it could be people. Yes. All right. They accept that some will misunderstand them and they don't take it personally. And I just said that, right? So if I can save the relationship, I will. Some people, to this day, in this age, believe in giving people the silent treatment. And I'm like, aren't we a little bit too old for that? Okay. What's up? Let's chat. What is up? And if you're like, oh, nothing, I'm like, okay. And I'm moving on. We don't have time. We don't have time. So I do accept that some people will misunderstand. Come on, you didn't live to be this long not to know that some people will misunderstand you, not like you, dislike you, flat out hate you, hate your gut. Who does she think she is? No, I'm just Maggie. And I'm moving on, right? I have a vision. So everything okay, sis? Sure, okay. That's what I said. If you tell me everything's good, if I see that you're quiet or whatever, and I'm like, hey, sis, what's up? Checking in, and I'll do that a lot, then you guys know I do. But if you say, oh, I'm fine, everything's good, I'm like, okay, she's good. I'm moving on. And if anything is going on with you, is just brewing with you, and you just don't come out with it, well, I can't help that. I can't. All right? Because introverts like myself, we got a lot up here in that frontal cortex. Okay? Their happiness, that's still how we are thriving in this new environment. You know, we already got our apartments, we're building community, building friendships, but the interpersonal relationships is what I'm talking about right now. For an introvert, their happiness does not depend on others, okay? We realize we have to create our own happiness. And you know, I talk about happiness and contentment. Happiness is situational. Contentment is a state of being. And I think introverts are so into themselves, they understand that their happiness is up to them, not you. It's not situational. The contentment doesn't depend on what's happening in the world. It's deep within you. It is with me as an introvert. Okay. So I can't say, oh my gosh, you didn't talk to me. I'm so sad. I might be sad for 5 seconds and I'm like, okay, let me reach out. If it's something I can fix, I can apologize, I'll do it. If not, I'm moving on. So you have no control over my happiness, my emotions. Okay? If it doesn't work out, we try again. Yes, we are persistent. We're not easily discouraged. Oh my God, that has served me so well. Because I can tell you that in my life as an adult, I have tried many things that have not worked out. And it would be easy to say, oh my gosh, you know, I came to Panama and Panama's not working out, then, oh, I'm stuck. No, if Panama didn't work out, I'm okay going somewhere else. But because I spent the time up front, remember, I knew myself, I did the research, and I made the decision. I'm okay with the decision, and I'm happy with my decision. Therefore, I am planted, and I don't feel like I want to go, you know, like a flight, like a little bird, trying here, trying here, trying there. That's too much energy. Remember, we want to conserve. So I've been here 3 years. Not one day have I regretted my decision because I did the work, I put in the work, and I'm okay with it. Not everything has been perfect, but it's doable. It's doable. All right. Very little patience with drama. Now that one is interesting. We have some drama queens that are older with gray hairs. And it's easy for me to identify them. And I was like, oh Lord. And those folks, I can't hang around you too long because I'm like, One of my worst faults is my impatience. I get very impatient and I ask for forgiveness every day to ask for patience because I realize I'm dealing with human beings with frailties and like I am, like somebody has to deal with me. They're like, calm down, Maggie, relax. Yes. But the drama that some people bring with them is just like, it's too much. So we really don't have a lot of patience with drama. So as you are becoming an expat and you meeting people here, people there, and you start identifying some people, it's like, this one, once in a while. This one, that's my girl, right? We all have these folks in our circles, and you can kind of put them in their little pots. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? We treasure a simple life. My life is very simple to the point of being boring sometimes. But you know what? As an introvert, we relish boredom. Not boredom, boring. What you call boring, I find exciting. Where I'm sitting here and I have the music going and I'm working on the computer, creating something because usually it's like, oh, what's on my schedule? This one, that one, that one. Yes. And you looking in might think it's boring. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is great. I get energy being in my own company. I know it sounds weird, but if you're an introvert, you know that you know, right? A simple life, a small circle of friends. We don't need 50 people swirling around us. That's like a dizzying. And the ability to create your own happiness. Understand that, remember, happiness is situational. I should change that word to contentment. Being content with who you are, with your life the way it is, the simple life, not a life where you have all kinds of bells and whistles and you traveling here and there and you staying in five-star hotel and that does not move me anymore. Introverts treasure a simple life. And we realize that our own happiness is up to us. And we don't put a lot of hope in the environment and what's happening. I mean, that doesn't mean the political landscape the way it is doesn't concern us. That doesn't mean we don't have empathy for our families and friends who are going through things. Of course we do. We're not totally unfeeling. We're not. But I think it's kind of a protective mechanism that you are able to constantly analyze where you are in life and as a person, and then you can frame your mind and your emotions and your expressions, how you deal with people, how much you put yourself out there, how much you engage in these debates and conversation. You're like, it's a waste of energy. Why am I spending time talking about this stuff that I have no control over? So sis, this is what we had to talk about today. Now, I don't know how well this video is going to do because a lot of people are not in a position or not willing to think things through, but I'm not going to change. I don't follow the trends that says you need to put a title on your video that kind of, oh, there is some kind of scandal or something awful happening to you. I'm going to keep doing what I do, teaching you how to move to Panama, telling you how to live better in Panama. And today, I try to get you to understand that if you are an introvert and you've moved abroad, it could be an asset and not a liability. Don't think that the fact that you've been here 3, 5 years and you don't have 50, 60 people, that you call close friends. It's a lot of people to call close friends, right? Don't judge yourself or lower yourself or demean yourself thinking, oh, well, I'm not like her. Look at her over there. She's just such a social butterfly. That's her. She's an extrovert. Embrace that. Celebrate her. But don't compare yourself to her because you are unique. You are uniquely and wonderfully made. And the sooner we accept ourselves and see our psyche the way we are wired as an asset, as something positive, You think that's going to affect your mood and how happy or content you feel? Contentment is a state of being. And I think as an introvert, I have gotten to that point where it's like every day is an adventure. It's a day to be thankful, to embrace what this crazy life has in store. And if you're not centered and ready, you're going to get rattled. All right, sis. So I hope you enjoyed this video. The next videos, I want to do a series on neighborhoods, and I will take you along, and hopefully you enjoy them because you know what? This YouTube world is cray. But anyway, it is a privilege, and I thank God for it. So I'll see you in the next video. God loves you. You know I love you. Au revoir. À la prochaine. Bonne journée. Bye.